So what we're going to take a look at today, like I said, we've got kind of three main products from Epic Games. So with these webcasts, we never know if there's going to be people that are brand new to the ecosystem. They've heard a little bit about it, but they're not quite sure what programs what. So we'll take a little bit of time and talk about what are the different programs. Okay, what is reality capture? What is it used for? What's Twinmotion? Okay, where do we want to use Twinmotion and what's Unreal Engine? Where would we go from Twinmotion into Unreal Engine? And then we're going to take a look at a little bit of the interaction between the programs. So how easy it is to get different projects from one program to the other. So we're going to start off talking about reality capture. So reality capture is a program that has been bought by Epic Games. Okay, the program itself is over 10 years old. It was bought by Epic Games just over a year ago and brought into their ecosystem. So reality capture it's photogrammetry. If you're not familiar with photogrammetry, photogrammetry is the process of taking photos and then using those photos to create various things. So typically you're going to start with a point cloud, and then from the point cloud you can create meshes and you can create textures to then bring that model into different design programs. But at its heart, it's photogrammetry software, which again we can use cameras to take pictures to create point clouds. So those cameras can be mounted on drones if we're talking more of a survey workflow and we want to get existing conditions for some tall buildings, or if we want to get existing conditions for ground, we can attach that camera to a drone, and then we can process those and get existing conditions for the ground. If we're talking more of a manufacturing or let's say a gaming instance, I can use a DSLR and I can take a whole bunch of photos with my DSLR or even my iPhone and then bring those products in. Recently, Reality Capture has also released a program called Reality Scan, which goes on your iPhone or other mobile phone and will allow you to use the iPhone camera and then really easily bring that data into reality capture. So again, photogrammetry software application for Windows, it enables you to create ultra realistic 3D models from a set of images and or laser scans. You can import photos and videos, you can import laser scans, you can merge photos with laser scans. One of the unique things about reality capture is that ability to take not only photos and create a point cloud from a photo, but also integrate laser scans. So if I have a laser scan from my Leica BLK, the new BLK or the RTC, then I can bring that data in and I can mesh from that, right? Or I can combine it with other photogrammetry point clouds that have been created. I can create triangular watertight meshes. I can colorize and texturize the model. So again, a lot of this stuff is things that you don't necessarily get out of some of the other programs. So that's a quick look there at what reality capture is. At its heart, it's going to be photogrammetry software that we can use our cameras to create point clouds from. Moving on then, we're going to take a look at Twinmotion. Okay, so Twinmotion, again from Epic Games, it allows you to really, really quickly bring in data from design programs and get very high quality visualization. So quickly create high quality visualizations for architecture, for consumer goods, for transportation, fashion, and more. Okay? You can easily bring in data from, let's say, Revit. Okay, so if I'm a Revit user, I can easily bring that data in. Not only that, with Twinmotion, I can link it. Okay, so they've got a couple of different plugins that I can actually link my my Revit model and my Twinmotion model, and any changes I make in Revit are going to come over to Twinmotion really easily. Okay, but really, this is used for high quality visualization. Right? We've got kind of that seamless integration where we can, again, bring over data from every major CAD, BIM modeling app that supported things like ArchiCAD, things like Revit and Rhino and SketchUp. All of those kind of models and data come in really, really easily into Twinmotion. From there, again, we've got that real-time environment. So working in context with real-time rendering. And this is just an example of the kind of rendering that you would get from Twinmotion. Again, very high quality rendering, things that you're not going to be able to get out of something basic like Revit. Right? High fidelity real-time lighting, interactive creation tools. So it's very easy to go in and change things on the fly and bring in new assets and that directly with Twinmotion. Other things in here, again, very high quality assets. Right? So I can add in assets into Twinmotion to enhance my model that are very, very high quality. With Twinmotion, you've got access to Quixel as well, which again is just a library of assets and materials that are very, very high quality. We've also got storytelling tools, exporting and sharing as well. Another great feature of Twinmotion is the ability to publish this up to the cloud. So if I have clients or if I've got other stakeholders that I'm working with that don't have Twinmotion, I can publish my model up to the cloud. Again, you just get a web link that you can go into Google and open, and I can go in and I can actually walk around my model. I can collaborate in the cloud in real time with people that don't have Twinmotion. So again, great tool for quickly creating that high quality visualization and then sharing that with stakeholders. That's going to take us to Unreal Engine. So talk about Unreal Engine, and then we'll talk about where I would go from Twinmotion into Unreal Engine. Okay, Unreal Engine really started as a gaming engine. Right? So if any of you have kids, I'm sure a bunch of you do, Twinmotion or Unreal Engine, right, one of their biggest games is Fortnite. They also do a whole bunch of other games as well. Some of the really big popular games all done on Unreal Engine. But especially recently, they've started branching out more into architecture. Right? So some of the bigger architecture firms use Unreal Engine for creating more, even more realistic visualization, adding in some customization and interactivity within the models. Films and television have started using this a lot. So two kind of recent examples, the newest Matrix movie, right? A lot of that was done within Unreal Engine. If you are familiar with The Mandalorian, The Mandalorian was also, a lot of that was done within Unreal Engine as well. Automotive and transportation. So within the automotive and transportation world, again, a lot of that interactivity that you get on websites can be done within Unreal Engine. So if you've ever gone to some of the car websites and you can go in and you can pick a car, right? And then you can go in and customize everything. Right? Change the wheels out, change the color, change the interior colors of the materials and that kind of stuff within the actual car. A lot of that kind of customization and stuff has been done within Unreal Engine and then published out to the website. So it's a very, very powerful tool for, again, creating really lifelike, advanced real-time 3D. Within architecture, architecture itself, it has a lot of benefits as well. Again, simple to bring in data from any of your AutoCAD applications, whether we're talking about Revit or SketchUp or any of those other CAD applications. It's really easy to bring that data over. Again, you've got very high quality visualization. So if they're using it for things like production, movies and TV, I mean, you can imagine just the type of visualization that you can get for your projects as well. Not only that, we can start looking at that stuff in AR and VR, right? I can collaborate within Unreal Engine. Some people can be just on their computer. Other people can be in virtual reality, or we can take it to augmented reality as well. We can use it to aggregate all of our design data, to see it in one place, and then do model walkthroughs. So instead of everybody now getting together, I remember when I was in industry, we used to all have to get together in a boardroom, and we would spend days walking through the model. And now we can, you can be located where you want. Like I said, some people can be in VR, other people can be in the office, and we can walk through much more collaboratively. Again, other things for real estate and architecture, I mean, real time in less time, right? Getting your data into Unreal Engine really quickly from things like 3ds, Revit, SketchUp, Rhino, all of those different programs. Adding in, again, real time and much more realistic materials and lighting. Okay, they've come a long way, especially with the release of Unreal Engine 5 and getting that lighting looking much better and performing much better as well. So where would you go from Twinmotion into Unreal Engine? Okay. Twinmotion is great. It's really quick and it's going to get you a fantastic looking visualization. But if you want to bump that visualization up even more, make it look even more realistic, bring it into Unreal Engine. If you want any type of interactivity, like we were talking about with the configurator with the car, you can also do that kind of configurator with architecture. Let's say we're designing a house or an apartment and we want to have the customers able to walk through and on the fly change things like the materials. Right? As we walk through, you can pick on the floors and you can change the floors. You can pick on the countertops and change the countertops. Any type of interactivity like that would be done within Unreal Engine. Okay. So that then is a quick kind of overview of the 3 different products. Right? If we're taking a look at, we talked about their reality capture. We talked about Twinmotion and what it is, and we talked about Unreal Engine and what it is and where they can kind of be used. So the focus of this webinar was really to look at the interactivity, mostly between the 3. Right? So if I have a project started in reality capture, how can I get that project into Twinmotion, and how can I get that into Unreal Engine? And then from there, if I have a Twinmotion project, how do we get that into Unreal Engine as well? So if we take a look here at reality capture, this is reality capture. As I said, it's mostly just a photogrammetry program. So this is actually a tower that was photographed by one of the guys from reality capture. Our sister company, as I mentioned, Ascent, they're in the process of writing some training material for us for reality capture, and they've been using this, so I kind of borrowed it from them. Process all of your photos as you normally would, and then go in and simplify that model. So we've got a couple of different models in here. We've got the very high quality model up here, model 1, which it's very large. Okay, this has 128 million triangles. From there, I took it into this last model here and we simplified it. Okay, we're now down at about 10 million triangles. When you're working with especially with reality capture and kind of deciding how many triangles to actually bring in, it's going to be kind of dependent on size and what the object is and where it's going as well. So this, there's not really a rule of thumb to how many triangles you want to bring over. You may have to start and then bring it in and see how that works, and then try it again. 10 million seems to work okay for this this platform or this tower. Again, if it's a smaller object, probably less. Again, depends on the detail as well. So this has been simplified down here to 10 million triangles. Okay, I've also created a couple of different textures. Okay, now this was done with a retexturizing, texture reprojection. So the model one there has the full texture, high quality texture and color layers in there. I did this texture reprojection to bring it down in here. It's still 16K textures. I've got a color layer and then I've got a normal layer. Apart from that, everything is done kind of pretty similarly to what you would normally do. When we are exporting from reality capture, there's a couple of things you want to keep in mind, a couple of settings. So if I click on the file format, okay, I'm just going to make a thing here. That's going to bring up my export dialog box. So a couple of things that we need to know if I've processed it the same way I have here. I want to export my vertex normals. Okay, I don't need the vertex colors because I've got a mesh and I don't need them. The last thing here to look at is the transform preset. So in here, you've got some presets that I can go in and it'll preset a bunch of the settings for export. So if I click on there, I've got things like one for Blender, one for 3ds, and then I've got one here for Maya and Arnold and Unreal. Okay. If I do that, what that will do is flip the Y coordinate. It's also going to set the scale so that I don't have to do that coming into Unreal Engine specifically. Right? So if you're familiar with Unreal Engine is set, the default unit is set to centimeters. So 100 centimeters is going to equal that 1 meter. So we've got that scale here set at 1 to 100 so that this comes in really well when I bring that into Unreal. Okay. Going into Twinmotion, you don't need the scale set at 100. If I set that back at 1, then it's going to come in better into Twinmotion. So the scales are a little bit different. You've got the option, if I know I'm going into both and I don't want to create 2 exports, I could just go in and scale them in one program or the other. So leave this scale at 1 to 100 and then scale it within Twinmotion, or I could bring this down to a 1 and then scale it when I bring it into Unreal Engine. Those are pretty much the only things I need to worry about for exporting this. Okay, when I export it, it's going to bring in it's going to create a few different files for me. So it'll create the FBX file, right, that I'm going to use for the model. It's going to create my normal map. It's going to also create my color map as well. So bringing it into Twinmotion, okay, this is just one of the sample projects. This is just the lake house sample project, but I thought I'd bring it in here anyway. To bring this file into Twinmotion, okay, I can click on the import. Okay, on the geometry, okay, I just select on that 3D object. And then when I select on the 3D object, it will bring all of the material over, it'll bring the object over. This one I scaled out of the export, so it's brought the tower in at the right scale as well. Very simple process. I've just got to make sure that I've got that material, the normal map and the material map in the same folder as my FBX, so that when Twinmotion is creating it, it will, it knows where to find all of that information. Bringing it into Unreal is about as simple. So in Unreal Engine, under my content drawer here, I can just right click and create a new folder for it and then click on that import. When I click on import, it's going to bring up a dialog box for me. So I've got my dialog box here. So importing into Twinmotion, again, click on the import tab, select your FBX, and then set your options. Importing to Unreal Engine, again, on the content drawer, once I select on that FBX, then I will get up my FBX import options. Okay, a couple of the more important settings to remember in here, that nanite. Okay, so nanite is new in Unreal Engine 5. It's going to kind of help with the model, again, adjusting the triangles as we kind of get closer and further away. So do I want to build a nanite? Yes or no? Again, that one's important to check. The other kind of settings in here, again, that material import method. Do I want to actually create materials? So again, if I have my materials in the same folder as my FBX, Unreal will go in and find those materials and it will create the material for me. Again, pretty important to do that. Once I click on import all, that will then import my tower for me. So it'll import the FBX, and it's also going to go in and create a material for me. Okay, so this is all created for me without me having to do anything. Now, one of the nice things with Unreal Engine is that I can go in and I can edit my material. Okay, so if I double click on my material here, I can go in and edit it. Okay, all of these other parameters have been added by me. When the material gets created out of the box, I get the texture sample connected to the base color, and I get my normal attached to the normal. But I want a little bit more flexibility within my material here. I want to be able to go in and control the brightness. Right? If I want to, if it's not come in quite bright enough, or it's too bright, I want to be able to go in and control that. Same thing with metallic. Right? I want to be able to control that metallic parameter, right, to make it look more metallic if I need to, or not. Specular and roughness as well. So I've gone in here and I've added parameters for my metallic, for my specular, for my roughness, and again, it just makes the material that much more customizable. So we've got a material out of Reality Capture, we brought it into Unreal Engine, and now we can start tweaking it to exactly what we like. It doesn't seem to be an issue in this newest version, but there were instances, especially in past versions, where you would get the lit tower. It just didn't come in right, especially with some of the smaller objects. So Reality Capture, everything's viewed as unlit in Reality Capture. And it seems to be okay when you bring it into Twinmotion, but the quality would degrade quite a bit when we brought it into Unreal Engine. Okay, you can fix that with your roughness, and that'll make it much better. right? But that doesn't seem to be as much of an issue at the moment anymore. So again, bringing it into Unreal Engine allows us to go in and tweak that material. So I can edit the material to include parameters for brightness and roughness and specular and metallic. From there, I can create a material instance and use that material instance for my tower, and then easily go in and adjust my, my materials as I need. So fairly simple process. Again, we've just used the tower, but we can use this for any project that we've got within Reality Capture. Same process to bring it over into Unreal Engine as we've just gone through. Twinmotion to Unreal Engine then. Okay, so we do have the ability to start projects in Twinmotion, get that really quick render, get that really quick visualization, and then bring that data into Unreal Engine really easily. To do that, you need a couple of different plugins. And these plugins, you're going to have similar ones for working with Revit. You're going to have similar ones for working with some of the other design programs as well. So specifically for Twinmotion, we need a Twinmotion content, and we've got this Datasmith Twinmotion importer. Okay, this Datasmith importer, the plugin with Datasmith, that's going to be the main plugin for a lot of the different, like I said, a lot of different CAD programs. So they make a Datasmith importer for Revit. They make a Datasmith importer for SketchUp, etc. Download the plugins and then install them to the engine version that you are using. Once I have that the plugins installed, I can go in and I can turn the plugins on, and then it's a simple matter of clicking on my add and then going to the Datasmith and then clicking on the file import. Okay, I do have the option for direct link. It works a little bit different. If I'm going into direct link, these are all the different files that I can add. So again, you can see lots of different file types that I can go in and I can actually add with that Datasmith import and export. So again, really nice workflow, really easy to get all of your data from one program to the next, and then back again if I need. Okay. Something to be kind of just keep in mind, especially from Twinmotion specifically into Unreal, not all of the content works. Some of it does, most of it does, but some of it doesn't. Things like some of the animated people don't come over very well. Some of the objects don't come over very well, but most of the data will come over. So it might take a little bit of trial and error. Okay. So that's just a kind of a really quick overview and look at the different products that we support anyway from Epic Games. Right, just to recap again, we've got the Reality Capture, which is the photogrammetry program. We've got Twinmotion, which again is really quick visualization. And then we've got the full-blown Unreal Engine, which we can use for even more realistic visualization, as well as a lot of interactivity. We've got a lot of resources for the different software, tips and tricks, videos, blogs, all available on our IMAGINiT Resource Center. They've also got them on Twinmotion and Reality Capture product pages. There's a lot of information out there for Unreal Engine as well. We've also got training, Twinmotion training. We've got a one-day Twinmotion training fundamentals course. We've also got other training as well. I've done a couple of classes for Unreal Engine itself. As I mentioned, Ascent is in the process of creating some training around reality capture as well. Okay, so that's going to take us here, and we can open it up for some